For decades, Japan has been a dream destination for expatriates, students, and travelers seeking a unique blend of modern innovation and deep-rooted tradition. The country's impeccable infrastructure, world-class cuisine, and fascinating culture have drawn millions to its shores. But beneath this polished surface, a harsh reality is unfolding, one that is making life increasingly difficult, if not impossible, for those hoping to call Japan home in 2025. The silent economic stranglehold. Japan's economy, once a global powerhouse, is now grappling with an aging population, rising national debt, and stagnating wages. The yen has weakened dramatically, causing a surge in the cost of imports, which affects everything from daily groceries to housing. Inflation, long considered a non-issue in Japan, is creeping in, squeezing the wallets of both locals and foreigners. At the same time, wages remain stagnant. The salary a foreign worker or even a Japanese national could once rely on for a comfortable life no longer stretches as far. The cost of living, particularly in major cities like Tokyo and Osaka, has skyrocketed, making it increasingly difficult for the average resident to maintain a reasonable standard of living. A housing crisis in the land of efficiency. Tokyo, often romanticized as a city of endless neon lights and cutting-edge technology, has become an unaffordable nightmare for renters. Tiny apartments, once considered an acceptable trade-off for city life, are now renting at exorbitant prices. And while rural Japan remains affordable, job opportunities there are scarce, forcing many to endure long commutes or settle for unstable work. Foreigners face additional hurdles. Many landlords are reluctant to rent to non-Japanese residents, citing concerns about language barriers, cultural differences, or potential lease violations. Those who do manage to secure an apartment often find themselves subjected to complicated rental processes, hefty deposits, and high renewal fees. Visa policies. The doors are closing. Japan has historically been a difficult country to immigrate to, but recent policy changes have made it even tougher. As of 2025, work visas require higher salaries and stricter employment conditions. This disproportionately affects foreigners working in industries like teaching and hospitality, fields that were once relatively easy for expatriates to enter. Permanent residency, which once required just a few years of employment and tax payments, now demands longer stays, higher income thresholds, and near-perfect adherence to strict bureaucratic processes. The message is clear. Japan is tightening its grip on immigration, making long-term residence nearly impossible for many. An unforgiving work culture. For decades, Japan has been infamous for its grueling work culture, characterized by long hours, rigid hierarchies, and relentless pressure. While some companies have attempted to embrace flexibility, the reality remains unchanged. Many employees, both foreign and local, are still expected to dedicate their lives to their jobs. Foreign workers often struggle to adapt to Japan's work expectations. Unpaid overtime, known as service zangyo, is still prevalent, and speaking out against it can result in social alienation or even job loss. Those who come to Japan expecting a balanced lifestyle often find themselves burned out and disillusioned. A declining social scene. Japan's social scene, once vibrant and full of opportunity, is becoming increasingly isolating. The country's aging population means fewer young people to connect with, while rigid social norms make it difficult for newcomers to form meaningful relationships. For many expatriates, Japan's famous politeness can feel more like a barrier than a bridge. Friendships take time to develop, and without a deep understanding of Japanese language and culture, many foreigners find themselves perpetually on the outside looking in. Healthcare, a double-edged sword. Japan's healthcare system is world-class, but navigating it as a foreigner is no easy task. Language barriers, complicated insurance systems, and reluctance from some doctors to treat non-Japanese patients make medical care a challenge. While Japan mandates that all residents enroll in health insurance, the rising costs and bureaucratic red tape can be overwhelming. Some foreigners, particularly those on short-term visas or freelance contracts, struggle to access affordable care. Climate change and natural disasters. Japan's geographical location makes it one of the most disaster-prone countries in the world. Earthquakes, typhoons, and tsunamis are constant threats, and climate change is only making things worse. Heat waves have become more extreme, summers are longer, and natural disasters are striking with greater frequency. For those unaccustomed to such conditions, the unpredictability of Japan's climate can add another layer of difficulty to daily life. Preparing for emergencies, dealing with sudden evacuations, and adapting to extreme weather is an ongoing struggle for residents. A society resistant to change. Japan is a country deeply rooted in tradition, which, while beautiful, can also be suffocating. Change happens at a glacial pace, making it difficult for new ideas, foreign influences, and progressive policies to take root. This resistance to change affects everything from technology adoption to gender roles. For women and foreign workers, breaking into established social structures remains challenging. Those who seek a more dynamic, flexible lifestyle may find Japan's rigid structures frustrating and limiting. The reality of isolation. Many foreigners who move to Japan expecting a dream life find themselves battling loneliness. Despite the excitement of new experiences, the reality of being an outsider in a homogeneous society often sets in quickly. The language barrier, cultural differences, and an overwhelming sense of not belonging can wear down even the most resilient expatriates. The initial honeymoon phase fades, replaced by the stark reality of social isolation. Even those who learn Japanese fluently often struggle to integrate fully. Japan's social circles are tight-knit, and true acceptance remains elusive for many non-Japanese residents. Conclusion: a dream turning sour? Japan remains an extraordinary country, one of unparalleled beauty, history, and technological innovation. But in 2025, the dream of living there is slipping out of reach for many. Rising costs, strict immigration policies, a rigid work culture, and increasing isolation make long-term life in Japan an uphill battle. For travelers and short-term visitors, Japan will always be a breathtaking experience. But for those hoping to build a life there, the reality is growing harsher. The Japan of romanticized dreams is fading, replaced by a society that, while still captivating, is becoming nearly impossible to truly call home.